look forward to them. Now, our next speaker is going to talk about using AIOps to improve your digital business processes. Wes Cooper is the product manager for the operations bridge at Micro Focus. He has 6+ years of experience with Micro Focus and HPE in product marketing, global enablement, sales, and business development, all within the IT operations management market. He's a published author and 4-time marathon runner. You go, Wes. And an avid outdoorsman. He is based out of Dallas, Texas. Wes, thanks for being with us today. We really look forward to your presentation.
All right, Jose, it's a pleasure to be here, and hope everybody is staying safe these days. Let me go ahead and I will share my screen again so you can see our slides as we get started. All right, so yeah, like I said, pleasure to be here to present to you all today on how AIOps can help to improve your digital business processes. Go ahead and move forward one slide and go to our agenda real quick. Whoop, here we go. All right, so here's kind of a look at what we're gonna run through over the next, I think I've got about 35 minutes with you all here before we get to our Q&A here at the end of this session. So first, I'm going to walk you through what is AIOps. This has really probably been kind of a buzzword in the IT operations industry recently. So I'm going to put some meaning behind that term for you all and really show you where AIOps has come from and the value benefits that it can give to your business today. We'll talk about process discovery and creation and implementation of the process. So how you go out and discover those assets across your hybrid IT estate, finding out what's normal, so being able to do data collection and analysis effectively. And then we'll also look at some things that can help you to do process improvement around these digital business services to help you detect problems faster and to even put automation behind them to really put this all to work at speed that will support your digital enterprise today. Okay, so when we talk about the evolution of AIOps, this is something that has evolved over several years here. Artificial intelligence for IT operations is what AIOps stands for. This all really dates back to 2005 when the term big data analytics came into the market. That was first used by O'Reilly Media back in 2005, and this was really talking about this concept of, hey, we've got all these large data sets today. How do we manipulate these and use the data that we have today to make more sense for our business and improve processes? This is really where it all started back in 2005, where machine learning was used to complement monitoring of IT infrastructure with visual analytics and log analysis. Fast forward, about 9 years, and Gartner started to introduce this term called IT operations analytics. And if you've been an IT operations practitioner for a while, you've probably come across this term at some given point. Again, this is at this point in 2014, Gartner really introduced this concept of having this central kind of big data store, having business value dashboard. That's what BVD stands for there. And that's really the concept of being able to paint a picture for business leaders of their business data, as well as for IT leaders as far as technical infrastructure and systems network data that was flowing into those dashboards. Fast forward to 2017, Gartner coins this term AIOps, or artificial intelligence for IT operations, to account for the shift to cloud and containerized environments, or you've probably heard the term serverless recently, as well as the needs for the organizations to really assimilate all this data, right? So today, data doesn't just live in on-premise data centers anymore. It lives in the cloud. So you've heard of Amazon Web Services probably by now. A lot of you, I'm sure, use AWS or Azure or even Google Cloud Platform. There's several that are popping up in the market over the last 10 years or so, and it's growing at lightning speed. Another thing that's growing increasingly is Internet of Things, or IoT, right? We've got all of these mobile devices We've got tons of data that's flowing out from and coming in from outside just these traditional data centers anymore. So this proliferation of all this data has really required the ability to analyze and reduce the noise around all that data flowing into operations. Today, fast forward into 2019, we're in what we call multi-domain AI operations. So what we're starting to see in this market of AIOps is really some differentiation between domain agnostic type vendors in the market and domain specific. So this is inclusive of several different data domains that live in IT and business today. That includes things like IT service management, network performance management and diagnostics. So how you're bringing in, events and data coming in from your networks that span your, companies and organizations' locations. DevOps data that's flowing in is a very critical part, and to bring into AIOps and crunch that effectively. Application performance management, as well as IT infrastructure management data. So this is kind of the span of where we've gotten to in the last 15 odd years or so. AIOps is a very new term, but it's actually had some history that's been around for a while. Okay, so talk about AIOps. Now that I've told you a little bit about history and the notion of it, where it's come from, let's talk about what you should look for in an AIOps solution. So point number one, this comes to us from Enterprise Management Associates. They are industry analysts that we work with a lot at Micro Focus. Several other vendors in this space also work with Enterprise Management Associates. And I really like the model that they've shared here. It's very pragmatic and prescriptive. It's 5 clear and concise steps to help you get on your way implement AIOps in your business today. So number one is the assimilation of data from cross-domain sources in high data volumes. I mentioned that today data is living all over the place, right? It's not just within companies' own firewall and their own on-premise data
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I see your questions, and I'm jumping back in here because I want to make sure that your session is okay and that you can still see me and hear me. I believe that there could be something that happened at the presenter's end. So and the reason for that is that Wes is based in Dallas, Texas, and there are some severe thunderstorms going through his area. So just to do a quick check on that, could you please just type on the questions box that you can hear me and see me okay? I need some feedback just to make sure that you can hear and see me okay. And Wes, if you are on the line, there were some problems with your transmission, so I
Okay.
see you coming back here.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm back. Can you hear me now?
yeah, I think that they can hear me and they can see me,
Okay.
but there was a
Okay.
problem with on your end. Did you have a power glitch or something?
Yeah, we've had some big thunderstorms that have rolled through Dallas this morning also. I really apologize for that. Hopefully we maintain connection here. I have a 400 meg connection here, Jose. So
Yeah. No,
I'm hoping it's just a brief glitch. I apologize for that.
completely understand. It's incredible that, in the age of big data, incredible analytics, we still need
Yeah,
electrons to be flowing for all of this stuff to work. So great stuff.
absolutely.
I'm gonna excuse myself. I just want to make sure that the audience knew that everything was okay with the webinar and was not
Yeah.
something on their end. So
Okay.
please do carry on. Thank you, Wes.
Sure. And I think you probably can you guys all see my screen? Is it still showing?
Yeah, your screen looks good.
Okay, so hopefully we're on the AIOps model slide. Jose, real quick, where did you guys lose me? Was I on point one?
I think you're right on this slide when we couldn't see you anymore. So I
Okay,
think you're right on track.
okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward here. Okay, so when we talk about the AIOps model, what should you look for? Okay, so this is a great prescriptive model that comes from industry analysts, enterprise management associates, a predominant analysts that we work with here in the IT operations market all the time. And I really like this. It's a very prescriptive, 5 easy steps to implementing AIOps today. So number one is the assimilation of data from cross-domain sources and high data volumes. You know, I mentioned that we've got data that's flowing in from beyond just on-premise and physical data centers anymore, right? A lot of you are adopting cloud services and platforms from Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud Platform, or you've got IoT data that's flowing in from all over the place. So having a centralized data store and a place to centralize that data is really a core concept that all of the analysts are talking to today. The second is to be able to access all that different type of data that you're collecting today. So, you know, a lot of you have monitoring tools that you've had in place in IT and the business for several years now. That's not really a surprise to anybody, I don't think. But it's the ability to take all those different forms of data like events, metrics, log data, network flow data, and topology, and to be able to store all that in a centralized data store. Number three, it wouldn't be an AIOps solution if you didn't have some type of self-learning or an algorithm to help you drive prescriptive, predictive, and if-then insights. So the goal here is to have a system that can go out and look at all your different business processes and monitor all those, you know, by collecting all that data, and then prescriptively or proactively be able to say, hey, based on our current load and event that's coming in, you might be seeing some issues come down the pipe here in the next, you know, day or so based on what's flowing in, and be able to create those trends in the environment. Number four is that it's got to be able to be a strategic overlay that can assimilate multiple monitoring tools and other investments. So on average, what we see in the enterprise market today, and based on EMA's research here, there's over 23 monitoring and management tools that middle and large enterprises are using every day to manage their IT environments and their business services. That's a ton of different tools. And that's a lot of integrations, you know, to bring in. It's very important that you can have all those tools talking in one place together. And then, of course, point number 5 is that it needs to have support for traditional infrastructure. So you can't forget about the on-premise systems, but you've got to be able to take care of what's out there in the private and public clouds today, and across serverless and containerized environments as well. Okay, so moving forward to the next slide here. Here's how we deliver AIOps at Micro Focus. And again, this model here that you see in the middle, we refer to as observe, engage, and act. This is in line with what industry analysts like Gartner and Forrester as well are outlining for their AIOps model, right? So at the top, where you start here with AIOps is this concept of observability, right? So I've got to have the ability to automatically go out there and discover all my hybrid IT resources and start to do monitoring of those, right? I got to know what I have, and I got to start monitoring those constantly so that I'm getting this data flowing in. Also, the ability to go out and create customizable dashboards and reporting is very key for a lot of organizations that we talk to every day. They need the ability for IT operations to paint business value dashboards, right? That business leaders can look at and say, okay, I understand how our top, digital business services are running. I see which ones we have critical events or problems coming in. And this helps, IT leaders and business leaders to be able to talk the same language. And ultimately, it helps them to plan and budget things out more effectively. The next step down there from observe, we see in purple is engage. So being able to centralize performance and events management is very important for a lot of your organizations today. They've got dozens of monitoring and management tools. None of them are really talking well in a lot of organizations. So having this ability to centralize monitoring and event management data is very important. Today at Micro Focus, we support over 200 plus integrations there, and we've seen customers reduce the amount of events that they're handling by up to 90%. Bringing in application health and user experience management data is very important as well. So you can't have application performance management tools out here working in a silo and not talking with AIOps. The point is to bring those together. And then ACT in pink here, or magenta, is really about how do we take the business process that we know and we've collected all this data on, how do we start making it more autonomous? How do we give it the ability to act on itself? And that's the state that we're working with a lot of organizations today to get to. And I'll show you an example of where we've done this here shortly. And then, of course, the central brains or neural network that's bringing all this together is AIOps, where we've built, we have a big data platform we've built all this on today at Micro Focus, known as Vertica. And we've got 50 plus patents specifically for IT operations data management built on top of Vertica today. Businesses like Facebook and Uber depend on Vertica every day. Uber, they do a lot of looking at different time trends for rides and being able to do analysis and drive their business more effectively on that platform. Okay, so the first step to really being able to get on the train to improving your digital business processes with AIOps is automating the process of asset discovery in your IT environments, hybrid IT environments, right? So discovery automation really simplifies monitoring configuration by going out there and constantly looking for new configuration items in the environment, right? So here on the right, you've got a screen that shows a topology view of a business service, right? And this is something that is very important to be able to utilize today in your IT operations environment, is being able to see how things stack up from a business service, right? It's not enough anymore just to look at system health performance. That's not really going to give you a good insight into what your end users are experiencing. So having this ability to automate discovery, to go out and constantly look for the environment and populate those into your AIOps platform is very critical. So we've mentioned also talking about, it's all about the data that you have within AIOps today and what's going to make it stronger. So one of the forms of data collection that's very popular out there, especially when we talk about improving business processes or being able to monitor into business services effectively, is doing data collection with synthetic monitoring. So essentially what this is, synthetic monitoring, it's not necessarily a new concept, but it's a concept that I can tell you a lot of businesses have huge advantages and benefits of doing. It allows them to quickly go out and for each business application that you're running, it allows you to simulate virtual users on those applications and to see how that application is performing.
Hey, Wes, real quick, your presentation is not updating the slides, as you're going through
Okay,
them. Just
okay.
so just go ahead and click on the presentation to make sure it's going through okay for you. We're not seeing the updates on your slides.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's rolling through for me. Do you want maybe if I stop to share the camera, Jose? Maybe it will give some
Yeah.
additional bandwidth.
Or you can do that, or you can stop sharing your presentation and start again. Just reset that.
Okay, and I think currently, Jose, I'm just showing it's just showing panelist, which is interesting. Do you have me as a presenter right now?
So okay, so I'm sending back to you so that you can take control again. You should see a pop-up come up.
Yeah, let me go. Okay, let me know if you can see that now.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect.
And by the way, thank you for everybody online who's providing the feedback, because I see something that's slightly different from sometimes what they see. So thank you for the feedback.
Sure.
We're right on track with you now.
Okay, sure. So we were talking about this synthetic monitoring concept, and I think you've been able to hear me, right, Jose? But here's the visual behind this, right? So this gives you an example of what synthetic monitoring or data collection will allow to help within your environments and making your business services or applications effectively performed better for your users, right? So this concept of synthetic monitoring, again, it allows you to simulate a virtual load on an application, and you can do that from multiple points, right? We realize that a lot of your organizations are working in a global capacity, right? So what if we have the ability 24/7, 365 to be able to monitor our business services from any location across the globe and get down into the transaction layer to be able to see every step of a process and an application that a user, and that's very important to be able to overall improve your user's experience. Okay, so let's move forward. So here's an example, just again, of the process of how synthetic monitoring works, and the benefit it can provide is it allows you to run a simple script. So here you see one of the United Airlines here in their business application. They're recording a script against that application of a user process. They can replay that from multiple times and locations across the globe to make sure and see how that application is performing across any one of their critical areas. And then the ability to do visual analysis. So having dashboards or reports or SLAs at your fingertips. And then, finally being able to isolate those issues and see where the transactions are breaking down or not performing well. That's critical to operations teams to be able to look at those issues that are coming in, but it's even more critical too for the development teams and app dev to be able to see, hey, where do we need to go back? Where do we need to recode? Where do we need to retest these applications and kick them back to production? So here's some examples of some business value dashboard examples for application health and user experience management of what we do even at Micro Focus. And again, these are fully customizable. So I've just have some examples here. And these are really meant for both IT operations as well as the lines of business to be able to look at quickly and be able to make decisions based upon the data that's flowing in. So we mentioned centralized event and performance management. That was a really important piece to AIOps and improving these digital processes, is the idea that you need to be able to centralize all of your data into one console and make sense of that. So here we have an example of what our Operations Bridge Manager looks like, which is the main console of Operations Bridge in our AIOps solution. And here you can see in the bottom left is our event browser. We've got a lot of these different types of network events and application data events flowing in. On the top right, it's a full topological view of the business service. So from all the way from the top level application view here at the very top of the screen, and we can drill down literally all the way into the VM or the container kernel layer. And just that's very important to be able to see how that whole business service is flowing. Okay, so when we talk about analytics, we talk about AIOps, what's the benefit, okay? The benefit is that it's going to be able to look at all of your data in a centralized place, and it's going to be able to help you learn patterns in that data. And that's gonna help you to proactively spot issues before they occur, and it's gonna help you to look at even anomalies that are flowing in and really be able to become more predictive and prescriptive in your environment. So here we have just kind of a dashboard example of what flows in here. A quick example of this is over here on the left, we have all the logs that are flowing in from the environments, which are, log file is a very basic level keystroke that we can go out and monitor and bring into the environment. And you can also, through all this data, fast forward and you can rewind as these critical events are flowing in, and you can drill down into these. On the bottom left, you can kind of see where we've got that predictive baseline. So, the real-time data is flowing in and you have some graph of that, but also your solution needs to be able to go out, your AIOps solution needs to be able to go out and do some predictive analysis of what's coming in the environment. So one of the big things of making AIOps effective is, hey, what if I don't have a data scientist? What if I don't have a person that has a PhD to go and do data science in my environment today? That's one of the key things that we're talking about here with configuration-free AIOps. In our solution, this is something that it requires zero touch. You literally go, and when you deploy our solution, it's constantly doing analysis of all the data that you just are pointing at it. And so it doesn't require a data scientist or an operator to go out and look at these trends and analysis or build them over time. It's automatically doing that. And so having that ability to, for machine learning to take its place and allow your operators to go out and focus on other priorities for innovation is really key. And that's what's going to help you get ahead here in the future. One of the last things that we'll talk about here is the idea of closed loop incident process management, or CLIP. And this is really to help the whole incident flow remediation process, right? So once you're able to identify a problem, right, in a business service, maybe one of our business applications in Germany per se, maybe we have an online banking application in Germany and users can't even get into the login process, or it's taken, a minute and a half for them to get into the login process. Here in the top left, you would see an event would be triggered there. And then the idea is that a lot of times IT operators, they have separate people that are doing IT service management. So we've all probably used a service desk at some point of our career, right? You got to go to the help IT icon on your PC, log a ticket. It takes a lot of time for a user, and they're expensive for the business, right? An average first level ticket today is over $20. So if you think about a business that has several thousands of those flowing in every month, that's a ton of cost for the business. What if you could allow your IT operators to not have to go to other tools, right? They could simply kick off automated ticketing throughout their monitoring console and also be able to close out those tickets as the problems are resolved within one integrated solution. And that's what we're providing to operations teams today. And it's very key, again, when we're talking about AIOps, when we're talking about becoming more autonomous and improving the way you're doing business processes, this is a very key benefit area a lot of our customers have seen. Another key on this topic for closed loop incident process is automated remediation, right? So how do we get to an state in our environment today? So we provide an orchestration engine, one of the most robust in the industry today, has over 8,000 automated workflows, and it allows basically those IT operators that as they see these redundant tasks and processes coming up, right? If there's recurring issues on these business applications, that they can go out and employ quickly some automated workflows to help resolve these issues. And I'll show you an example here in a minute, but we've got a customer that's employing this on a high level in their organization, and they've actually automated over 95% of operator interactions in their environment. Also, it's important to mention this concept of ChatOps. So what is ChatOps? ChatOps is a ability to increase collaboration within your business and IT operations departments, and allows you to use tools like Slack, Mattermost, and Microsoft Teams to be able to go out there and pull some really key and important operational data. So not everybody always has access to the key monitoring consoles that IT uses, but they need some of the reports or some of the data or knowledge management that's coming out of those systems. And ChatOps is something we provide, and it's definitely a way to help you improve that end-to-end process automation and collaboration piece. Okay, so let's talk about a real world example. There's a large oil and gas tech services company that we work with that's using our AIOps platform and automation to automate this entire detect to correct process, right? So to be able to monitor the environment, find the issues or find that needle in the haystack, and then be able to go out and execute those actions without having operators manually have to do that, right? We call this autonomous operations, or another term, of course, is AIOps today is what's being used. And so here's some of the results that they've seen in just 2019 alone. They were able to automate over 95% of executive actions that were carried out by a virtual workforce. So they implemented 9 bots, chatbots into their IT operations environment. And those bots did over, I think there was 1.47 million actions executed in 2019 alone. And those bots, they did over 95% of that load in diagnosing and fixing those issues without any human intervention. That saved them over 107,000 man hours. And I think that came out to about 62 FTEs is what they were showing in their dashboard at the time, and $4 million of cost savings in 2019 alone. As you can imagine, with oil and gas today, $4 million in cost savings is going to get the attention of any CIO or CEO, and it's a major beneficiary for the business. All right, so with that being said, Jose, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and we can open up to do some Q&A.
Fantastic, Wes. Fantastic. Thanks for recovering with all the storms that are going through Dallas, and still getting your presentation done, and really great insights on AIOps and all that's going on in the technology world, which is really exciting. So I'm gonna ask this. I'm gonna open up for questions here and there, and give some time for the audience to catch up and ask some questions. And I already see some coming through, so I'm gonna ask. The first one that is coming through here is from Rula, and Rula Ode is asking, what is the upfront work that's needed to clean up processes and process data before you can apply the solutions?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So when we're talking about making AIOps effective, right? It is truly about the data that you're working with today. So a lot of organizations have been monitoring their business applications and business processes for quite some time, right? So they've got this data out there, right? But I think your question there is like, how do I take this data and start making sense of all of it, right? It's all flowing in from disparate systems or domains, and that's what this concept of AIOps is really helping to do, is that you're able to start centralizing that data in a centralized data lake or data store, is what we're talking about here, that can ingest and analyze all that data in real time as it's flowing in. So I would tell you the first step, if we kind of, if you'll remember on that, maybe that first slide that I showed on the 5 processes or 5 steps that enterprise management associates highlighted. The first one is to be able to get all of your monitoring data or your business process data into one place. So that would, I would tell you, that would be the first thing to do. And you want to make sure that you've got a data store or a data lake that has the performance capabilities and scalability that as this data continues to grow in your business, it will be able to handle, right? We're not seeing any slowdown of data that's flowing in, and it's only going to become more robust. So having that centralized data lake and starting to explore that for your organization, I would tell you, is probably the first step that you want to do in looking at making that more effective.
So that's very good. And on that question, just as a follow-up, Wes, how do you decide where to start? You know, if you have kind of some sort of ideal scenario where, because implicit on that question was that there's a lot of time that we have data for things, and but
Right.
the underlying processes for that is a mess. So the quality of that data, the quantity may be there, but the quality may not be so good. So I'm curious from from an AIOps perspective, coming into an organization, where would you find the best applications of AIOps? If maybe I'm starting the journey, maybe how do I prepare myself? Where would you point AIOps in the beginning? If you can talk a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so I think AIOps, really the key users of AIOps, the beneficiaries are all over the business, right? But the key really users or the orchestrators of AIOps is going to be your IT organization, and specifically IT operations management, right? So it's those crews in your organization that are managing the critical business infrastructure, right, that your business applications are running on. And what we talked about there, Jose, is that first concept, right, is I guess the first place you would start, right, is you need to be able to know what's in your environments, right? To know what business services or applications are in the environment collectively. IT has to know, they have to have visibility into all of that stuff, right? If they don't, then when there's application outages or service outages, they're not going to be able to go out and fix those because they don't know what's happening, right? So that process discovery slide, I think, was one of the first in my presentation today. That's really where it starts, right? With IT, is they've got to be able to go out and discover what all's in the environment, what all applications we have, and then be able to monitor those environments. And then analysis is what kind of helps to drive and make those environments smart. Does that make sense from a high level?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Lots of actual questions coming in, so I'm gonna try to keep up on the pace here and cover as many as possible.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna take the next one for Mark McDonald here. So
Okay.
he's talking about what is the impact of external influences that impact the process environment, and for example, the COVID impact on health provider patient interaction going from physical to virtual. Does this require significant change to AIOps? How do you flex AIOps when there's shifts like that?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And AIOps has played kind of a key role for a lot of companies in how they can handle this whole surge in remote work. So really good question. And we've actually been addressing this quite a bit recently in our industry is, hey, we've got a ton of our workers right now, like 97% of people I think have been working from home recently. I know we all are. And so what business leaders and IT operations leaders are saying is, okay, how do I make sure that all of these remote workers have access to the business applications that they need to run every day, or their business processes, whether that's Salesforce or Microsoft Teams, or they need to be on a VPN, right? Being able to monitor the status of VPN in itself is huge right now for companies, because most people were working in the office. Now they're working remote. They're having to log in through those VPNs and they're being overloaded. So if anything, AIOps is really going to help organizations to pivot as we move forward. What we're seeing through all of this right now is, yeah, sure, during COVID-19, over these last 4 or 5 months, a lot of us have been working remotely. But I think what a lot of organizations have seen is, hey, we can save costs through this. We can evolve our business if people sometimes are working more remotely. And what IT operations is now looking at is, okay, so now that this is kind of becoming a permanent thing, let's start looking at AIOps more effectively, because that's what provides analytics on top of what you're doing for monitoring, and it can help you to automate process remediation, right? So as problems occur in those applications, let's say that Teams goes down one day, or you get like a bandwidth issue like I've got right now with all these storms rolling through, that you have the ability to go out and to help automate the recovery of those processes. And another thing is too, Jose, a lot of IT operations teams today are working remote too, right? They're not sitting in the data centers right now. So they need the ability to have that central console that we were just talking about and be able to look at all that data collectively and automate processes. That's really important.
Good, very good. At least one more question here that we have time for. Cameron Jahanshashi is asking some good specific questions here. These are good because these are very practical questions. So he's asking, can you give some more specific examples on the types of incidents the chatbots are able to do the triage and solve the problem? And then before you answer that, he follows up saying that if you have ServiceNow, how does AIOps work with a SaaS solution like ServiceNow? And I'm not sure if you have or if you're familiar,
Sure.
or, but a two-part question. The first one is the examples of chatbots able to triage and solve problems, and then maybe a bit of a connection of AIOps with ServiceNow.
Sure. So with ChatOps, I'll start with that one. So with ChatOps, right? Bots can be used to go out and do some basic commands and reporting, right? So if I'm an IT operator, right, and I want to see maybe what's happened on a specific business application in the last hour, what event data, what log data, what metric data is flowing in from those events, and maybe I want to get performance threshold data. Maybe I want to see, okay, what's the current load that's running on those applications? Maybe I need to be able to see, maybe I need to be able to run some reports and get that information to me readily pretty quickly, right? That's what chat bots will allow you to do, is to pull information quickly. It also allows for the non-traditional IT folks that use popular collaboration tools that they can access those bots, right, through like Teams or Slack or Mattermost. And they can grab some of that important, maybe it's their business application they're concerned about, right? So if I'm a line of business person and I own an application, maybe I use a chat bot to go out and pull some of that data, and I can report that up to my chain of command. The second one I think was about, so what do you do about like ServiceNow integration with AIOps? So that's a great question, and we work with this all the time. So at Micro Focus, we integrate with ServiceNow, we integrate with BMC Remedy and Sharewell, and those are all third-party service management solutions that are popular in the industry today, to do what we called that closed-loop incident process management, right? So we have a lot of customers that use our AIOps or our monitoring console with Ops Bridge, and they will integrate that with Ops Bridge with ServiceNow to do automated ticketing, right? So as a problem comes in their main operator console, they can automatically notify the service management team that, hey, we've opened a ticket for this, and we can even automate the process to when that problem is fixed, that it'll close the ticket in ServiceNow we do it with our own solution. We have a service management automation solution as well. But hopefully that answers the question as well. Yeah.
It does, Wes. It does, Wes. Fantastic. I mean, we're up on time here, but
Sure.
thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
this wealth of information, navigating through all the technological challenges that we had during
Fun
the
stuff.
session, and still provide such great insight and onto this leading edge technologies that are being incorporated into intelligent business process management today.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Jose. Again, all apologies for the interruption, but thanks for sticking with me. And definitely, I was glad to be a part of it today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Wes.
All right. See you later. Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap up the session now. And our next session will be with Mark Warszczowski. He's a Senior Director in Operations Solutions for Jabil, and he's going to talk about very great applications, real practical applications of intelligent BPM in manufacturing and many other areas, equivalent areas. So you do not want to miss Michael's session. We're going to start that up at 5 to at the top of the hour. We open the session up at around 5 to 10 minutes before the top of the hour, and fill out the survey as you close out of this session, and we will see you back soon. Thank you.